And welcome back. I'm actually looking forward to this one. The last case was a bit of a disaster. And I say that because I have no idea what went wrong in the end, really. Well, I know what went wrong, but I don't know what the answer was. So, also, this is the sort of, I don't know, it reminds me of like Jack the Ripper kind of stuff. It's nighttime and things like that, so I'm really looking forward to this one. We'll see how it works out. So, just to recap, Wiggins' brother is in jail because they accuse him of murdering two men, or two people at least. So, I think we should first go to. Actually, I don't know which one would be better. Going around here and then missing things because we haven't really heard from the person before. That's possible. Also, talking to the guy and then not having things to corroborate his story with might make me forget. I'm always focused on what will I forget, because I think that's like the biggest problem with these cases. But I'll go to the scene of the crime first, because I want to sort of get some sort of idea of what happened. So if he says or describes the scene in some way, then I'll sort of know what to expect at least. He's about to get robbed. So this was in Whitechapel, I think, and Whitechapel is like a sort of notorious area for old London. Great Ailey Street, Half Moon Street. So the murder happened over there. And alright, so this is an exit directly. Let me just increase the volume a little bit. Hopefully not too much, but so I would imagine the problem happened this night. So so there is sort of the scene should be relatively fresh. And I'm not sure what the carriage can come over here, but it sort of I mean, you could come down here with a carriage, but there's no sign of it really. It's very, very dark. Now, that makes me think that there could be a witness to this whole thing, and that it could be him. And apparently there has been a carriage here because of these. What do you call them? Tire marks, I would guess. Man, I cannot see anything. Okay, so I'll see better if I go towards into the darkness, which is good. So a person could be hiding back here. There's also some drag marks down here, but they're not sure what to make of that. This whole place is fairly chaotic.
Please, gentlemen, leave the scene now. Oh, Mr. Holmes, is that you?
Good evening, Constable...
Constable Marrow. I was here with Inspector Aberline during the Ripper case, Mr. Holmes, back in '88. But then this is nothing like that case. With this one, we've got the murderer, the weapon, and the statements, which speak for themselves.
Of course, Marrow. But you know that appearances can sometimes be deceiving. You spoke of statements. You have witnesses?
Well, I was there, so I gave my own statement. And then there were two other witnesses who said they saw the killer Chapman. Mr. Turner, a gentleman who lives in that flat over there. And Polly Powell, a flower seller, who was over at the far side of the street.
Who were the victims?
The two men here, both shot. The stab fellow was Brian Vercotti, a well-known ruffian. The other, Kenneth Butler, a jeweller by trade.
So, Constable Marrow, I should be delighted to hear your testimony.
I was standing at the north side of Half Moon Street. That was the side that you came from.
But you would have been unable to observe this part of the street, where we are standing now.
That is correct. But I saw the two victims slowly enter Half Moon Street, and then shortly after, the fireworks started. A few minutes after that, the fellow Chapman rushed towards me and ran into Half Moon Street.
Please continue.
I didn't pay attention, but suddenly I heard a woman's cries and police whistles on the other side of Half Moon Street. I rushed over there and I saw the two dead bodies on the ground. When I reached Whitechapel Street, I saw Leighton Chapman. He'd been caught by two police constables.
What? Did I get this right? I think I heard him wrong. Or misunderstood him. Sorry. He said that he heard shots and then he saw Chapman run into the street. I think I sort of misunderstand what happened, but that would be completely stupid.
What were the fireworks in honor of, Constable?
Well, today's Queen Victoria's birthday, Mr. Holmes.
Yes, I appear to have lost track of the days. It is May now, of course.
Okay, so fireworks at the so there were actual fireworks, but he didn't hear shots, which is, I mean, I can't judge him for being stupid, but that sort of sounds ridiculous. So, fireworks, Chapman, and then commotion.
Did you hear the shots?
I didn't hear any shots. The fireworks were all over the sky. They were so loud I couldn't hear anything else.
Constable Marrow, what else caught your attention while you were running through Half Moon Street?
I saw nothing but rats, and I took the time to light every corner with my lamp.
Did you happen to look up at Mr. Turner's window when you were on Half Moon Street at that time?
Yes, I saw that the window was open, but no one was there. It was dark in the room.
Constable, your statements have been of great value to me.
Right. So there was no one at the window when he came around there. Which means that if the person was sleeping at the time of the murder, they didn't see anything. And they woke up later. So we'll see what the witness has to say to sort of to see what happened. So he said that he didn't see anything, but I imagine that he saw the bodies, but he didn't see... he saw the bodies, but he did not see anything, and he went through this area lighting the corners, so no one was left at half moon. No one was here at half moon, and he came through, and it's a narrow street, so we can sort of, I think, presume that whoever was here would have either gone into some doorway or climbed up somewhere, or then, of course, there's a possibility. Oh, Wiggins, hello. There's a possibility that it was his brother, but we'll see. I'll just walk down the street to sort of get a mind map of this area. And I think I should pay a lot of attention to details on the ground, and because I don't know, the cop sort of, he's not an idiot, but he sort of makes me think that he's not really paying attention to a lot of things. And there's another room there that's sort of animated. Clothing. I felt like I could go in there. So I think I'll talk to the guy, because I already started talking with people, and I'll talk to the witness here, and then I'll see if there's any way to, because it's really shut down. There's nothing really obvious around here.
Good evening, Mr. Turner.
I heard Constable Marrow reply to you as Mr. Holmes. Are you that detective gentleman? I've heard of you. And well, I know things about this evening.
Excellent. Might we hear your story?
Rather not too old. So Balaclava, so he's been in a war. I don't remember where that place is for some reason, but I think it might be in like Ukraine or Crimea or something like that, which is, the same place, but it's missing a button. Sort of unkempt. Crimean War.
Could you tell us everything that you may have seen or heard?
I was already in bed when the fireworks started. A few moments after, I clearly heard 2 gunshots from outside.
Please continue.
I quickly got up and I grabbed the lamp from my nightstand and I rushed towards the window. I looked down and I saw 2 bodies. And there was a man with a gun who was standing nearby.
Where exactly?
Well, near this body.
Did he notice you?
I don't think so. He rushed towards Whitechapel Street without looking around.
So 2 shots. Man with a gun seems suspicious because it's dark. It's nighttime. Why would someone stick around for so long? because, well, they knew that they were hiding the shots were hidden in the sort of the fireworks, or masked. So it's possible they were sticking around to find something. So looking for something on the bodies. And one obvious thing, that it was an ambush, I would feel, because following them onto the street like that and then shooting them, it's past the police officer and everything, it's not, doesn't seem too clever. I mean, people aren't that clever when they make murders, I guess, but
Mr. Turner, did you see anyone else in the street?
No, I saw no one but that man, the murderer, the fellow they caught.
Were the two shots you heard consecutive?
Yes, there was a very short pause between them, and they sounded different somehow. It seemed to me that the second shot was louder than the first.
That is an interesting comment.
very. So it would mean possibly two weapons. And then that would mean possibly two shooters. And I am getting a phone call, so just a moment. And we're back. So I don't think I missed anything.
Mr. Turner, what were your actions after you stepped up to the window?
I was afraid that the man with the gun might return, so I stayed close to the window till I saw the policeman coming in the Half Moon from Whitechapel. Then I walked out to tell them everything I saw.
You have helped us a great deal, Mr. Turner.
So I don't see any real issue with what he is saying. Single perpetrator with two weapons, because at this time there were revolvers and sort of I would say at least bolt action weapons and things like that, but I would presume it's a pistol. And that doesn't mean that the person had access to that kind of weapon, so it could be two. I wouldn't go as far back as a flintlock, but by going like just having a single action weapon would make sense. So he has clearly been shot in the abdomen, and he has been shot in the head, and I think that might be a monocle down there or something like that. A motive already could be that the men are sort of known criminals, and you never know who hurt who in the criminal world.
I'll do anything to save my brother, Mr. Holmes.
I'll talk to the flower lady. Talk to the flower lady as well. The clothing just makes me think that disguises are right there.
Mrs. Howell?
What do you want?
My name is Sherlock Holmes. I'm assisting the police with their investigation of the crime that took place this evening.
Well, I've already gave my testimony, but very well.
I can't check her out.
Could you tell us everything that you may have seen or heard?
Yes, yes. I was selling my flowers as usual, and then the fireworks began, in honour of Queen Victoria. I enjoyed those. But then, all of a sudden, a young lad ran out of Half Moon Street and stopped just by me. He had a gun in his hand. He was like a ghost, and all covered in blood. It was dark, but I could see him, because of the flashes from the fireworks.
And then?
I screamed as loud as I could. I knew that a policeman should be on duty in the vicinity. He had no time to escape. 2 constables got him. Then another constable came out from the very same street, and I heard him talking of a horrible murder.
Did you see anyone else leaving Half Moon Street, prior to or at the time of the crime?
No, sir, I did not. Even with all the fireworks, I was very attentive, as I'm always on the lookout for customers.
Mrs. Powell, did you hear the gunshots?
I'm not sure. You know, what with the fireworks?
My thanks to you, Mrs. Powell.
Right. So, guy comes out with in blood, with a weapon. Starting to look bad for Wiggins' brother there. However, she's been here a while, and she's seen nobody come in or out right before the murder or anything, but there's no timeline for the murder yet. There's no sign of how long they were dead, but I would have to sort of trust the shots that occurred. And also I'll just the moon has probably been around there. I'm not sure which way the moon actually circulates, but I think it is from left to right, if sort of looking south-ish. Damn, it's one of those things. I know Sherlock didn't know that the Earth revolved around the sun, because he felt that it was uninteresting, because it didn't have any practical value in a sense. But the moon orbiting direction sort of has a meaning, because now this street is all lit up. The moon is lighting that way, and if the moon was lighting this region of the street, it would mean that the killer had eyes on, pretty good eyes, solid eyes on, because he's standing in the dark. His eyes are accustomed to the dark. And then he can see where they are, and he can shoot them. The other thing is this pole is sort of a sign of pulling down ladders or pulling yourself up somewhere.
A fairly long pole with a forked end.
So we'll see if there's anything around here, because I cannot see up there. I don't see any ladder though. So it is interesting. Well, it might be totally irrelevant too. Brian Riccati and Kenneth Butler. They also, one thing I thought out, they look like they're facing towards each other, which means that they're facing into different directions. Now that, of course, we don't know how the bodies fell and so on, but that might mean that there were 2 shooters ambushing from different sides, shooting them, and they were having some sort of deal here. Because it looks like a place where 2 people who want to hide a deal would go to. Although I think might be better to, I think it was in, Breaking Bad, where it might be better to handle your deals during the daytime, just on the street, because it's not going to be as strange. So I'll just see the oh shit! I'll just see the limits of where it can go, so that I know that I just make sure that I can't talk to these people. And that there's no other places that I can really go to except for that. So there is a mirror in the game, but it doesn't reflect the player. The last mirror was covered up. There's a door here and a door here too. So having the mirror here is interesting, but for now, I don't see any real use for it except being somewhere like on top of that building and seeing down the street without actually showing yourself.
This mirror is turned towards Half Moon Street.
And coming down, you don't really see anything important except for that roof over there. Although, again, it might be a mistake, but can't really see or make anything out of the mirror. Let me have a look at these doors first. I want to see if there is...
Locked. Locked.
Alright, so you can't go in there and ask anyone. Someone's awake in there, I would presume.
Locked.
And I don't really see a use for this building for now because it doesn't have an exit. The roof might be important, but I don't really see any other use for that. And I can't go in there and have a look because he's standing in the doorway. I would imagine that I can't walk past him.
I'm so glad that the murderer has been caught.
I also don't think that he really has any motive to really lie, but witness statements are pretty unreliable because people tend to plug holes in ideas that they already have, and some people do it more than others, and some people do it less, but that just makes it very difficult to sort of make anything out of witness statements, really. Witness statements are probably best thought about as a statistic rather than something, unless it's like really obvious. So I can't look at that.
This is an ordinary key. I wonder what kind of door it opens.
We shall see. So shot in the head.
The bullet struck his head. This man didn't stand a chance.
Oh, there is a T, so it's probably this. Plate stuck object. Piece of wood.
A piece of wood that has stuck between the cobblestones. Let us take a closer look.
So it looks like a chair leg of some sort, or a possibly like a broomstick, or the hook over there.
This shard of wood is quite new.
So, I mean, a cane, right? For that guy. Now, just to sort of state out loud what I'm thinking, or things that I have thought, is like, if he has something to do with the murder, it would be sort of clear that he's giving us false statements. Also, coincidence that the brother would be running into the street. And also, taking the weapon. He's poor, so he's probably just taking things that he sees, but the issue here is that the weapon was left behind. For someone to pick up. Or a weapon was left behind for someone to pick up, which is sort of confusing, but I think he might be able to plug those holes, at least of why he was here. The brother, I mean.
A tattoo from Westgate Prison. Vercotti must have done some time there. Brian Vercotti suffered greatly. What a terrible way to die.
Most definitely. And I feel like the shot looks... I don't know, maybe it's just a blood effect, but I need to check whether the shot is somehow different from...
He tried to stop the bleeding with his hand. Death was not instant.
Yes.
The bullet penetrated his stomach, a dreadful wound. A fairly long pole with a forked end.
Alright, so we can't check that. So let's assume if he has something to do with it, he would walk around here with a cane. Getting stuck between the rocks is sort of strange. But he has a limp and he doesn't have a cane on him, so that's sort of suspicious. You don't definitely need a cane, but it does help quite a lot, especially if you're severely injured. So I feel we've got an idea of what the situation here was. At least I'm sort of want to discredit everything he says. He could use a mirror to see the mirror too, and he could look, sort of see down here without looking at anything. There's so many possibilities, but we'll eliminate most of them. So I'll leave this episode here because it is sort of organized into one specific area, so that's nice. Next time we're going to go see his belongings and then ask, or see his brother's belongings and then ask him what he was doing here, what he saw, what he heard, what he has told the police as well, and we'll get somewhere, I'm sure. Because he can tell us a bit more about everything. He can actually tell us, I think, the most, not counting the murderer and these two gentlemen here who are deceased. So I'll see you in the next one.